Sai Ram. Sai Ram, everyone. As you all know, today we are going to try something different from what we usually normally do, which is take some questions and discuss. So we always run the risk of going off in tangents or going outside of what Swami would have said. That's always a challenge when we do a study circle with just questions without any material from Swami in front of us. However, because a few devotees had requested, we are trying this out. So we have received a few questions. We have received about, I think, 9 or 10 questions already submitted, and I'm sure many of you may have questions which you may like to pose here during the study circle, which is fine also. But I thought I would just set some ground rules, I guess, so that we don't go off in tangents. So we will try to limit each of the questions for 5 minutes. So we are going to post the questions on the web for everyone to see, and someone will read out the questions, and then it will be open for anyone to give you answers. And we will pause at 5 minutes, because otherwise we will just go on and on, so that we will take up as many questions as possible, and then let's see how it goes. And that's what I thought we will do. So that way we will complete about 9 questions, say in 1 hour's time maybe. And then if there are questions from the audience participants, we can take them up. So the questions will be read out. Then we will give around 5 minutes for all the participants to share their thoughts. And then at the end, I may interrupt and say, okay, we have run out of time. And then I may summarize based on whatever you all have said and add anything. I will take under a minute, 30 seconds, I hope. And then we'll move on to the next question. That's the idea. And then let's see how it works. Okay, Sai Ram, everyone. So we'll start with the first question. Mr. Kalyani, you can put it up and then submit it.
Sai Ram, first question is, children looking after old age parents could be considered as seva or duty?
So Sai Ram, everyone, I think that's a question which everyone has in their mind, I guess, as children or as parents. Parents looking for their children to serve them, or children what they should do. So I will open it up for the participants to share your thoughts. Try as much as possible to keep it within what Swami you may have learned from Swami's words, as much as possible. Okay, Sai. So if no one is answering, then I'm just
duty with Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother, please go ahead. Brother Rajagopal, please go ahead. Okay, I think.
Sai Ram?
Yes, please.
Yes, I answer with love. You got me?
Yes.
Sai Ram.
Duty with love. That's all you said?
Duty with love is a job.
Okay. Sairam, thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, so I think there's, I think it's everyone is thinking, so maybe I will go first and then we'll see if someone has something to say. So as Brother Rajagopal has rightly said, Swami has, there's a quotation of Swami, duty without love is deplorable. Duty with love is desirable. Love without duty is divine. So that's the quotation from Swami. So the thing is, anything which we do can fall into any of the categories. If somebody says duty, I'm doing it as a duty, and there's no love in them, either they don't love their parents or they don't love what they're doing, that is deplorable, is what Swami says. Duty with love means you're doing a duty, you still think I'm doing my duty, but I love my parents, and you love what you're doing, then Swami says it's desirable. Then Swami says love without duty is divine. So that is, love means we do whatever we are doing, not with the sense that it's a duty, but we are doing it out of our love for our parents. We are doing it with love for the Lord. You know, Swami would be pleased, or we may even offer that work as worship to Swami, and then Swami says that becomes divine. So that's all I have to say, and I will stop here. If anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please go ahead. I guess there's no other input, so we are going to move on to the next question. If someone has something to say, you can. Okay, Sister Dushi, please go ahead.
I was going to read the second question.
Yes, please.
So, okay. Are rituals necessary for sadhana?
Okay, so again, it's open for anyone to comment. If you want, I think we had the privilege of knowing the questions little in advance. But if anyone would like to, are rituals necessary for sadhana?
No. So, Sairam, brother. So, sadhanas for the ritual is very important because this is the swimming aid for our sadhana. Without the swimming aid, we cannot learn the swimming. So, for the beginning, we need the ritual is very necessary. Thank you, Sairam, brother.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Brother Yoga, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I read the question wrong way. That's why I accept him, because that's the way we had to, initially we had to do the ritual to go to sadhana. That's right.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
Sairam, I think what the rituals do is they help you inculcate the sense of self-discipline, self-monitoring, and perseverance. Even some of the rituals are not easy. You have to have that self-discipline and the perseverance to go through that. And ultimately for sadhana, I think you will need to be able to control your will and your desire and keep yourself steadfast on the path. So perhaps the rituals lay the foundation, but it's hard to not get carried away by the ritual and keep the focus on the sadhana. So I don't know how that can be achieved, but I do think rituals are part of the foundation. Sairam?
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone else who would like to come?
I think in the beginning we need some rituals, and depends on the person's mind and their atma level and things like that. Most of the people in the beginning, I think, is needed. When they come to one level, formless praying God and things like that, that time maybe is not necessary. Sairam.
Thank you very much, sisters. Thank you. Anyone else who would like to add your thoughts, please?
Sairam brother, I have a question. Can you define what is rituals and what is sadhana? Rituals means are they only pujas and doing abhishekams? How about bhajans, attending bhajan, meditation, chanting slokas? Are they rituals or sadhanas?
Okay, very good question. So sister has added a little more. So whoever is giving the answer should take this also into consideration. Thank you very much, sister. So if no one has, means maybe I will go, others can comment later. So ritual is whatever we physically do, from what I understand. So anything can be a mechanical ritual if done without the spirit. Okay. So for example, we just talked about seva. We can be doing service, which is action. But if there's no spirit of love in it, that is also an empty ritual. So anything which we physically do is a ritual. And unless it is imbued with devotion and certain divine understanding, then it becomes empty ritual. So whether it can be seva, which you do, we are doing poor feeding, we are doing Narayan seva, you can cook and go and give, or you can sing bhajans, or you can do even puja, which is basically, various actions like offering flowers or something like that. All these are physical things which we do, and they are considered rituals. But if the spirit within, the mind is not one with it, if the heart is not one with it, if we do not do with love, then it becomes empty ritual, which is a mechanical thing. So that is my understanding. And I think in the path of spirituality, rituals are necessary until we give up our body. Because the body is always doing some action. Even if we don't do anything and sit in one place, it is doing an action. So in the part of every action of ours, everything which the body does is a ritual which can be offered as worship. So until we have the body, we should be engaged in action, and that action, from what I understand, is ritual. That's my understanding. I will leave it for the other members to comment, please. Sai.
This is Balanti here. I feel that each one of us is on a different plane on the journey of our spiritual development. And to start with, rituals will definitely help. And when we keep on doing the rituals, whether with love or not, as you go along the path, you are really changed. You become transformed. Even without love, you start for the sake of doing. Then you start doing it with some interest. And as you go along the path, you will develop really love. And finally, it becomes a sadhana. So rituals are really a stepping stone to do sadhanas. That's what I feel. Sairam.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you. Sairam, anyone else would like to comment? Okay, we will go to the next question, I guess, then. Sairam, sister Toshi.
Sairam, how equanimity leads to divinity? Lord Krishna mentioned it in Bhagavad Gita, and our beloved Swami further goes on to say, even the Nastikas can attain Lord through this process.
I don't know, I will leave it to anyone, or so otherwise I will try to go ahead, because I think I have this little advantage of having known the question, so I will go ahead. So yes, equanimity is Swami Samatvam or Samachittam or Sthitaprajna, like the very various words used in the Bhagavad Gita, which Swami also uses. So that we treat either pain or pleasure as the same, gain or loss as same, day or night as same, and so on. So the thing is, when a person reaches that state of equanimity, that becomes divinity by itself. It does not that you don't attain. So attaining that state itself is attaining divinity, from what I understand. So, but that is the one way we can figure out whether we are moving forward towards the divine by knowing how we face gain or loss, any difficulties in our lives, how we face, what's the state of our mind, how positive we are, how much we believe that the Lord is looking after. I think these will grant us that state of samatva, from what I understand. So I'll stop here. And anyone else who would like to comment, please do. I think that there's one portion of the question maybe which I didn't address, which is Nastika, which is a person who is a non-believer also can attain. Swami has spoken about it. Basically, Swami says, even an atheist, if he does not have body consciousness, if he doesn't identify with the body, that person also can reach liberation, is what Swami has said. But the reality is, a person who does not believe in God or does not have the understanding that he is Atman may not be able to attain that Atman, because we should know what the goal is to be able to reach it. Okay, Saira.
Sairam, coming to a sort of daily practical level, how it is so hard to not feel the happiness or the pain, or even simple things like you plan to go somewhere and the kids are all excited, then it snows or it rains or you cannot do it. So there is, right from childhood, we feel pleasure, we feel pain, we feel disappointment. And then to attain that level of stoicism where none of them seem to affect you, you still continue on your path, right? Is that what equanimity is?
I don't know. I will open. Thank you, sister, for posing this question. I will open it up. I think we have discussed this in both Sandhya Nivarani discussion as well as in some of the karma theory discussion also. But anyway, I will open it up for anyone to share your thoughts, please. I guess it's
Can you please summarize the question again, please?
Okay, so sister, so I think we already spoke about equanimity. What Sister Vasudha says is, I hope she corrects me if I have gotten it wrong. What she says is, it is a very challenging proposition to have that equanimity, because, for example, even in small things in our daily life, we plan to do something and it does not happen. That disappointment is very difficult to take. And because we are conditioned by that kind of seeking pleasure in our lives, that it's very difficult for us to break away from that. But does it mean we just do some sadhana and then hopefully one day we achieve it? Is what Sister Vasudha is asking. So if anyone has any ideas, thoughts, please share. Sister Vasudha, you can correct if I have paraphrased your question differently.
No, what you said is correct. I was just saying, like, when you have, it's not, you are not living in a bubble by yourself. You have your children or, people around you, or who are also tied to your actions and your planning, right? I can say, oh, it doesn't matter to me if it snows or not. We didn't go. That's okay. Life will carry you. But for the children, for example, it's a big disappointment. Right? So how do you cannot live in a bubble by yourself. You have to live in the society. So I'm just trying to see, how do you apply these things practically in day-to-day life?
So I will go. Okay, thank you, sister. I will go ahead because no one else is speaking up. Anyone can interrupt me half sentence, mid sentence. The reality is, Swami says there's only one solution to this: to identify that we are not the body, we are the In this case, I think you are giving an example of children getting disappointed. The children are disappointed that they couldn't go. The parents are disappointed that the children are disappointed. So the thing is, all of us are looking for something, because the parents want the children to be happy, and that's the goal. For the child, going there somewhere is the goal. So the thing is, everyone is disappointed by something not happening the way they want. But Swami says, first of all, we should not be disappointed even to help others. So the thing is, then you can say, why is this person, even when somebody is hurt, somebody you're going to help, if we lose our ability to know that the Lord is taking care, without devotion, I don't think we can ever achieve. Devotion means the Lord knows, the Lord is taking care. We are there to do what we can within our capacity. The result is in His hands, and we don't know why and how He gives it. If we have those thoughts, then we will not be affected. But the problem is, we think we can somehow manage to run the world. Not even run the world, run our own lives, run the lives of our people around us. And sometimes you don't want anyone to be disappointed. But Swami will say disappointment is also a good thing, because through disappointment, people learn how to face life. Small disappointments prepare you for a bigger disappointment. So without the small disappointments, if a child is not learning to be disappointed by not achieving something like going on a vacation, later on, if they don't learn how to face disappointment and deal with it, when a bigger disappointment comes, they will be lost. They will think this life is not worth living. So that is why it is naturally created in this world for us to face disappointments. And if either we or our children face disappointment, we should feel it is good. It is good because we learn how to deal with this. Like in certain sports, they will say you need to fall down, and then only you know how to get up, and you know how to fall down. Okay, in certain sports, boxing and all, they say you have to know how to take a punch, and the coach will punch you, and you need to take the pain. Only then in a bout you can do. So the thing is, the same way Swami says, if you're going to the spirituality, Swami says, is like playing with fire, or it's fighting a tiger. He says it is a pretty dangerous game. But the thing is, in those games, Swami will gradually give us enough disappointments, enough failures, so that we can learn to face this situation, because in life, we may face things which are significantly bigger. So he's basically training us so that one day. So I think it is just that's my understanding. I will stop here. So believing in Swami, knowing that he is taking care of everything, and doing whatever it is within our capacity, without yearning for the fruits, is the only way to cultivate equanimity. As far as I understand, so I will stop here, and anyone else can comment, please.
Sairam, it's true that when there's disappointment, people tend to be more creative in looking for other avenues. Like with COVID, what happened is the whole world almost came to a standstill with the normal way of life, and then people started working from home, doing online schooling, everything. So we've now, as a society, actually harnessed this latent potential where, and it has also included so many people. And for me, it's been thanks to COVID, I got to join the study circle. Otherwise, I didn't know. Toronto was doing their own thing. Every province doing their own thing. So there has been some good that always comes out in the end. It's just keeping that patience through that difficult time to wait for the result in the end. But the second part of this, I didn't understand how the Nastikas can attain Lord. That seems a little bit high level. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Yes, because the question was there, I addressed it. It's a bit of a stretch for a Nastika to attain.
Looks like it's unfair.
Okay, so we'll go to the next question. Sister Ananthi, you want to say something? Please.
Yes, Sairam, I I agree with Sister Vasudha. I also understand the first part, but the second part, I also couldn't be able to really tie into the how the Nastikas and the Equanimity, the first part and the Nastikas, and how it would tie into this. The first part, I understand that the maybe the equanimity, how it leads to divinity, and this Krishna, Lord Krishna, and the Swami said, and everything. But I also have the difficulty in tying in the how the Nastikas, they can attain Lord, with this concept of philosophy. Maybe in another study circle, we may want you to explore in that part, because the time we just in the only the third question, but that is I also in my mind, I asked that question, how the Nastikas tie into the first part of this question. Yeah, thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, sister. I think we have discussed it a couple of times before. So where Swami has said lack of belief in God is a disease. I think one of the, I think Sandhya Nivadan we discussed also, I guess. But anyway, we will, the person who has posed the question, I don't think is present today to clarify. So we will move on. Because I think, because if anyone here is an Nastika and want to understand, then we can discuss. Otherwise, we will move on. We'll read to the next question.
From an individual perspective, what are the practical steps for spiritual transformation?
So, so I will open it up for anyone to discuss your thoughts. But I think it is being well covered in Sandhya Nivaran discussions on Saturday morning. Because Swami is basically telling us step by step what we should do and how we should practice on an individual perspective. But I can just tell one thing which Swami has told. It is actually, people can read it in Conversations with Sai Baba by Dr. Hislop. But there are many discourses also where Swami has said. He asked Swami, what is the most basic thing in spirituality? And for that, Swami says food. Food which we ate with through the mouth is the fundamental thing in spirituality. So if we control our tongue through what we eat, Swami says all the other sense organs come into our control. They follow suit. And then we have to focus on what are called recreations. Swami says ahara, vihara. Vihara means the time, how we spend our time, where all the other senses go to work, through our ears, through our eyes, and what our hands do, and so on. So if those two are looked at and they are put into good use to do sadhana, I think that's a few basic steps from what I understand. But I will stop here. If anyone has something to say, please go ahead.
So Sairam, brother. So Swami said the basic thing: love all, serve all. Deity is God, and those are the main thing. And if you follow that, even the simple these two, help our hurt never, then you can easily attain the spiritual transformation. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much, brother. Sai. Anyone else would like to come in, please?
Sairam, even Swami's 9-point code of conducts, if we simply follow at least, not necessarily 9, even at least 5 or 6, that would be the practical steps for easy way of getting into the spiritual transformation. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, sister.
Sairam. Swami said that Kali Yuga we can do the service and Namasmarana is reached that spiritual path. This will open the spiritual path for that. Service and Namasmarana is the very simple way to reach that way to God. Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Sister Dushi, maybe you can go to the next question.
Okay, Sairam. In the original Varna system that is described in the Vedas, is there any mention of it being something that is hereditary, something that you are born into? Is it not possible to attain self-realization even if one is in the lower caste, Sudra?
So I'll again open it for anyone to comment. If you have comment.
So Sairam brother, so we studied before too. The Varnas is designed to make the work easy. It's nothing going to stop you in your worship or attaining self-realization or anything. The skill and the knowledge has to be go together. That is the main reason. It's nothing stopping for your prayer or self-realization. Thank you, Sairam brother.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
Sairam, we have a lot of stories, different kind of varnas, they attain moksha, not by this one, never they stops them. We have a lot of stories. It's happened when there is long ago. All kind of varnas they attain moksha with or some difficulties. The Lord Shiva come and help them, pluck the land and everything to grow like that. I forgot the name of the person, but it doesn't block anybody to attain. That's my answer. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts?
Sairam, I think it is a fundamental love we have for God. That is the first step for us to go along the path. So when you really love God and work towards it, anybody, regardless of caste or creed or religion or anything, you can work towards self-realization. So anybody can do it. It doesn't depend on the caste or anything. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts? Okay, then maybe I will make an attempt. So I think the first question is whether it's hereditary. Yes, in Bharat, the Varna system is hereditary, and Swami has not spoken against it. But Swami has said that just because you are born in a particular Varna, you don't automatically become entitled for that. Because if you're born in a Brahmana family, your actions also have to be Brahmana-like for you to really be a Brahmana. It's the same thing about human beings. Swami says just because you have a human form does not make you human. You need to cultivate human qualities. Just because we are born as human beings, Swami says many people are animals or demons. Swami gives those words based on how we act. But the reality is, how are we human beings? We are born as human beings because we are born to human parents. It's the same way. Anyone who is born in a particular Varna, we should understand that it's God who has given them birth in that Varna. Because their past karmas may have given them some merit that they are born in a particular Varna or family which is part of a Varna, because in that Varna you get exposed to certain practices, food habits, your recreation, the type of sadhana you take up, even the knowledge which comes your way becomes easily accessible. It's just like getting a seat in a university. But just because we have entered a university does not mean we get a degree unless we go through the study. So the same way, some people have an advantage. But so that is, as far as Varna system is concerned, is hereditary. But just because you are born in a particular Varna, you cannot automatically claim that you are that you belong to that Varna, because through your actions, your own cultivation of the right virtues, then you become worthy of being called of that Varna. But the next question, I think others have answered. There is no bar of any Varna to attain divinity or even merging with the divine. There's a very famous poem of Swami, I will not go into detail, where he says, what is the age of Dhruva? In which caste did Prahlada was born? He was born for demonic parents. He says Shabari was completely illiterate and belonged to the jungle. Then I think Brother Yoga mentioned Kannappa Nayanar, or Swami calls him Timma, who was a hunter in the, and he knew only to offer the meat to the Lord. But they all were able to attain the Lord through devotion and love for God, and by leading a very, very sattvic life, even though they did not belong to any higher caste, or they did not have money, they did not have education. Swami says nothing is a bar as long as somebody has love for God and works sincerely, incessantly to reach that goal. Sai. If anyone has something to say, please go ahead.
The Vedic conference which happened at Prashanti Nilayam, one gentleman, I don't know the name, one gentleman, obviously a Vedic scholar who was speaking, he said, overall India, there are more saints from Shudra class than any other class, including Brahmin class. So
thank you.
So there's Baba always says there's only one religion, the religion of love. There's only one caste, the caste of humanity. There's only one language, the language of heart. There's only one God, and He's omnipresent. Sai Ram, brother.
Sai Ram, brother. Sai. Okay, so I think.
So Sai Ram, brother, I have a question. So just now, brother mentioned about there is only one caste. What does Swami mean by that? Only caste of humanity. But Swami says there are all these castes, right?
See, that question, that quotation is one of the most misunderstood, misused quotations in my view. See, we are all speaking in English now. Then if I start speaking what I imagine to be language of the heart, none of you will understand what I'm trying to say. I can close my mouth and say I'm communicating through the language of heart, and we will all be staring at each other and imagine what is going through that person's head. Okay, it's the same thing with everything. Swami has said, Swami has said there's only one religion, the religion of love. But then Swami says his job is to make a Christian a better Christian, a Hindu a better Hindu, a Buddhist a better Buddhist, a Muslim a better Muslim. So then what is the reconciliation? So these are questions. What Swami is referring to is underneath all the religions, the quality which makes them all alive is the quality of love. If we are all communicating in whichever language the mouth speaks, if the heart is not imbued with love, the speech is of no use. It is only the heart can speak, which is the language of the heart. The same, the caste of humanity, even though whatever function, Varna a person belongs to, the Atman belongs to the caste of humanity. So that humanity, the human qualities are uniform among all of us. Swami never thinks what Varna is higher, one Varna is lower. Absolutely not. So I think all these, we should understand, these are the things which gives life to any of these. The love is the one which gives life to language. The humanity is that which gives life to your caste system. The love is again the one which gives value to the religions. Without this life, now all of these are dead. A religion without love is not a religion. It will not take you anywhere. The speech which does not have heart in it is useless and it can be dangerous. Same way, when you practice caste and if you take out humanity from that, if you forget to treat another person as a human being, then that caste is a dead thing. So I think that's what Swami means. There are many discourses where Swami has gone on to explain this. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much. All this time I never understood this. Yeah, thank you. So, should I go to the next question?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. Is it inappropriate to introduce the topic of vegetarianism among our Group 1, 6 to 8-year-old SSC children?
Sairam. So I will open it up for anyone. I think it's a very simple question. I think anyone can give an answer. Swami has spoken about it. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm just because I want to, when my son born, I want to grow him as a vegetarian. So my doctor is a Canadian white man. So I going to ask opinion from him. I scared to go and approach him, and I told him the problem. He laughed. He said, "My daughter is a vegan. Your son can eat, drink a milk and cheese. Is good. Nothing wrong. He'll be all right." So this is good to teach the kids and to become vegetarian. And one other thing from one other person from Colombo, and the father is a very spiritual person. The mother feed the kids egg. So when the Puttaparthi, this person, the father took the Pada Namaskar, Swami frees him like that and asked the son, "Hey, your father told you not to eat egg and not to eat meat and egg and everything. How do you eat? The egg is bring your mind, brain, a little slow speed like that. So don't eat, follow your what the dad says, follow it." So this Swami guaranteed everything. So this is good for us. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else would like to comment, please?
Sir, so basically from this question, it is not inappropriate to introduce the topic of vegetarianism among Group 1, because if we teach them about vegetarianism right from a young age, it will benefit the students. And also from the environment point of view, according to the IPCC's report that was released last year, those who are vegan and vegetarians have the best chance of reducing the carbon emissions that we see that's resulting in global warming. So it's best to be vegan and vegetarian. So it's best to teach vegetarianism to our Group 1 students, especially at a young age. Thanks.
Thank you, Sivabalan. Thank you. Anyone else? Sairam. Sister Vasudha, please go ahead.
Yes. I think it can be introduced even earlier in life, not just 6 to 8 years old. I'll give you my own practical experience. My children had to go to daycare from a young age because I was working full time at the hospital. So in the daycare that the children went to, we were the only vegetarian people. Everybody else was eating meat, and they started from the age of 1. So before they can even differentiate the tastes or tell the cook in the daycare. However, by around age 2.5, my son, he started being able to differentiate the tastes. And what I did, just so that kids didn't feel left out, I would send to the daycare these, have you heard of the meat substitutes, like the protein alternatives? Now they're big, they're called Beyond Meat and all of those. But there are some brands that make tofu turkey, they make simulated, they look like meatballs or whatever, but they're vegetarian and they're made of soya. So I would send those to the daycare cook so that the kids did not feel left out, and they would eat the same kind of stuff, but except they're eating soya formulation. So one time my son, who was barely around 2.5, was given meat by mistake by this lady in the daycare. And he took one bite and he was able to differentiate, and he said no, and he gave it back. And then she said, no, you've got to eat this, this is in the schedule today. And so they were having a fight, but he could not at that time articulate that this did not taste like the soya meatball, it tasted different, and it's probably the original meat. So right from a young age, kids can understand that we, whatever the food is. And from the medical point of view, there are kids who are allergic to peanuts, who have to eat gluten-free diets, and many kids, actually we don't see that much in India, but Scandinavian population are very allergic to peanuts and things like that. So they sometimes even carry something called EpiPen. From childhood, the child has to be able to be aware of what foods they are eating and when to use the EpiPen. So the introduction of the topic, I feel, from a scientific point of view, to a child who's of, normal development, can be started very early on. And the second is the role modeling or example setting. So they saw that we parents did not eat meat when we went anywhere, even if it was Subway, A&W, any of these common, we would say, sorry, would you mind changing your gloves? We're vegetarian. Please use a new knife a clean knife here when you're cutting our sandwich, something like that. So the children grew up learning that. And interestingly, one day our son comes and says, because he now heard about vegan in the daycare, and that's where they don't have any of the animal products, not even milk from a cow. Or having grown up in India, in South India, people, I don't know, you might have seen restaurants where they write pure vegetarian on the restaurant, AC, non-AC, and my children would say, why do they write AC, non-AC, and why do they write pure vegetarian? But it was actually after coming into contact with the vegan believers that I realized actually vegan is more pure in that sense, because there you're not taking any products, even like milk or cheese or anything from an animal. And there are some people that I know who don't even use leather shoes, leather belts, anything leather, because that's also coming from an animal. So sorry, it's a long story, but I just wanted to share my own personal example of how a child who's even pre-verbal at 2.5 was able to refuse food in the daycare. And he actually stayed hungry that afternoon. He didn't have anything else because now he thought he couldn't trust the cook in the daycare. And then I had a conversation. But the topic and the role modeling we do and setting an example can be set early on, and that's the best age. Now, that child of mine is a teenager. Guess what? He constantly questions everything now. That he's a teenager, he's very inquisitive, curious, and now he wants to try all kind of things. The older they get, it is probably harder to explain why your parents or forefathers all chose to be vegetarian, because now his questions are more difficult to answer even scientifically. But my answer is yes, you can introduce even sooner. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you very much, sister. I think you have covered all various aspects of the question. But I think one of the question, Sister Anand, you want to say something?
Yeah, Sai Ram,
yes.
We have to look at the opposite side too. A kid coming to the SSC program and we introduce the vegetarianism, but their family, maybe for an example, that child is a 6-year-old. It goes home and the the family is a non-vegetarian family, and maybe for lunch or dinner they are serving the non-vegetarian meals. Maybe that child may be in confusion whether I should eat this meat or egg or whatever it is, or whether I have to follow the vegetarianism I have been taught at this class today. That's sort of maybe the confusion. Yeah, it may happen to that child. That's the only point I want to mention here. That's why I think the specifically if it's a 13 or 14 or 16-year-old SSC children, it's not a big deal. But if it is a small child or the children, if they come to the SSC program and if we introduce the vegetarianism, and if when they go home and the parents serve the non-vegetarian meal, the children may confuse themselves whether amma or appa, whatever the food they have, they serve me, whether I should eat or not, kind of. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone would like to comment, please?
Sairam, I have a small story, small question thing, because I went to one of the house and they are not Swami devotee, but they send the kid to the Balavikas. And nowadays they stopped. I said, why you stop the class? Because after he went to the Balavikas, he came home and they make the fish curry. And the little girl asked, oh, Mommy, this is the mummy fish or baby fish? This is a mummy fish. Oh, so the baby fish crying in the water now. If somebody kill you, can I take it? Or somebody kill me and feed you, will you take it? Then they stop the kid not to go to the Balavikas. Because I thought the transformation start begin with Swami, the kid will grow, I think, very good after this. I know.
Sairam, brother. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to comment?
Sairam, I think we can, in the study circle also we did, I had an experience when we teach, do the study circle, the parents asking questions and everything. And also some parents disagree to not to give the vegetarian food for the children. But half of them, they understand when we explain how the body works and things like that, how the meat comes from from things, and the very good study circle thing material we got from Swami's thing. And half of them understand, and they said they want to gradually change. And I think first we have to educate the parents and inform the parents instead of starting the class for 6 to 8 year old. I think that ages doesn't matter. When they learn earlier is good. I remember I sending the kids to once in Rochester, that camping in US. When they come from there, they teach vegetarianism, and lots of children from that after the camping, when they go until right now also they are doing vegetarianism. But my children, when they come out of the camping, first thing they ask, can we go and eat some sandwich with meat? But depends on the children. We shouldn't force them. Gradually, when they understand, now they are eating more vegetarian than meat, and they reduce lots of red meats and everything. Depends on the child thing, and we have to educate them. Vegetarianism is good. Thank you, Saira.
Saira, can I say something? This is Ranga from Saskatoon.
Yes.
Actually, last week I was asked to read a passage from Swami, and it so happened it was about Sattvic food and vegetarianism. I also attended a lecture, I think, in 1980s, where I was sitting. I became a vegetarian in 1976, and he was saying just because people don't eat meat, they think they're vegetarians, and they eat very hot food, and they eat not only that, they really forget that there are other doors through which you take non-vegetarian food, like hearing, thinking, So he says, in this quotation, he says, we have to make sure that we get sattvic put through all the other senses, you know. So he says if donkeys and pigs and other beasts were entered through these doors, we would drive them out and close the door to protect ourselves. So too, we must allow only sacred thoughts and good actions to pass of our body, the five sense organs, associated with the touch, nose associated with smell, forms can be seen with eyes, sound can be heard by ears, and the words flow from the mouth. So the body has five senses, and if you take sattvic food only through one of the organs, it's of no use. You should take sattvic food from all the sense organs, which means always speaking truth and hearing good and feeling good, seeing good and smelling good. So in a way, it is not easy. I think the task he is giving is even tougher. So while we focus on only the meat, that's I think in a way we should work on all other things. So which is actually, that's what the Bal Vikas does. You know, it's not just talking about the food that goes through your mouth, but also all the other things through your other sense organs to develop your character. So that's my comment, because I was asked to read a passage last week, and that was supposed to be a passage. So I thought I'll share that. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share your thoughts, please?
So basically, so based on what Audrey said earlier, so also along with teaching the students, we should also teach the adults like about vegetarianism as well, especially in study circles, like especially in Sai Centers, especially to the parents of SC students, because they will know what the benefits of vegetarianism, and we should also teach them based on the fats that we get, especially like from Swami's teachings, and also from environmental reports like the IPCC's report from last year, especially where they mentioned about how vegan and vegetarian diets can reduce carbon emissions.
Thank you very much, brother. So I think we have spent quite a bit of time on this topic. I will just summarize a little bit, and then we'll move on to the next question if it's okay. I think it's a very touchy subject, as Sister Ananthi has pointed out, when the children from homes where it's not practiced come. But the reality, as many people have already pointed out, the earlier you start, the better, because once you get used to something, it is almost impossible to give up. So Swami always talks about starting early. So the earlier we start, the better. I think a few people have already spoken about. And Swami has also spoken about the children being able to correct the parents. And many times Swami says, teach them so that through them, the parents at least get reformed. So which Swami has spoken about. The classic example is there are many children who come to study in Swami's institutions. They run into this issue. When they go back, the parents say, you have not had meat, you should eat. You know, there are some parents, and Swami would give strict instructions to say, don't eat. And, you know, things like that. So what I'm saying is, I think it's our job to teach what Swami wants us to teach. And we should also rely on Swami to take care of the rest. The child, some children are strong. They may stand their ground and, you know, reform the parents. Or the parents may pull them out of SSC, as Brother Yoga said. But it's okay. At least the seed is planted. And their karma takes on. And Swami will guide them. I think as SSC teachers, I think it's our responsibility to teach the right things, depending on Swami to guide them properly. I think that's my view. I think with that, we'll go to the next question, if it's okay.
Swami has given us many paths to help us move in our spiritual journey. How to identify a feasible path that is suitable to a Sai devotee?
Sahiram, sister. I will open it up for anyone to comment, please. I think everyone is a Sai devotee here. So you all know which path you're following, and I think you can share. I think everyone can share. So I'll leave it there. I think no one is speaking, so I will just say, you know, we spoke about the 9 types of devotion, and I think people can pick and choose what suits them, what suits their temperament. We have to just start somewhere, and it will take us anywhere we want to. I think that's the way Swami has also established. Anyone who wants bhajans can take part in bhajans. If anyone wants seva, they can take part in seva. If anyone wants to study Swami's literature and scriptures, that is also a path. The various paths will take us, but one day we will realize all the paths are the same. Every sadhana includes every other sadhana when it's in an advanced stage, I guess. So that's my view, but if anyone has something to add, please go ahead. So Sairam, Sister Dushi, we'll go to the next question. I think we have 2 more questions. And
yes. Can we chant Vedic mantras without being initiated by a trained guru?
Sairam, Sister. I will open it up for anyone here. I think we have discussed this topic pretty exhaustively when we were doing Sandeha Nivarana study circle. But anyway, I will leave it for the members to comment.
Sir, understanding the Vedas a little bit difficult without Guru's direction, because it has to be know the real meaning of those words. Otherwise, we can pronounce the wrong words. This is very, very bad to go the destiny. Thank you, Sir.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to? Okay, so maybe I will comment. Sorry, Sairam, someone is saying. Please go ahead.
Sairam, no, Swami has openly said in public discourse, anyone can chant Rudram. So it's obviously, he says anyone can chant Vedic mantras, but we have to take our due diligence and try our best to learn it properly and pronounce. Most important thing is to try to chant without mistakes. But Swami has openly said that anyone can cite it.
Thank you very much, brother. So I think the question is, I think that it's double pronged. I think one is to learn Vedas, one is to chant Vedas. I think at an individual level, all of us are allowed. We have the freedom to do whatever we want. And Swami, we can take Swami as the guide, and Swami will guide, I am sure. We don't, if that is our keen interest, I think we should do that. Number one. But when we choose a guru, Swami has already spoken in the Sandeha Nivarani that to choose a guru from whom we are going to learn something, we need to really test the guru. We need to know who the guru is, what are the qualifications, what are their motivations. Otherwise, we will land into trouble, and then we will have to worry why we landed into this trouble. So Sandeha Nivarani, first chapter, this is what we discussed. The third thing is the training by guru. The thing is, a very complicated, complex subject is better learned from someone who knows what it is. For example, if can I learn medicine without going to medical school and try surgery, that will be a disaster for us as well as the people who are at the receiving end. If you want to be an electrician without knowing what electricity is, just do it yourself as a manual. Maybe some simple things like changing the bulb can be done. But if you start wiring the house without knowing what we are doing, we can damage ourselves and burn our house. So there are certain things in life which have to be learned properly and practiced properly. So I think Vedas fall into this category. So that's why even if you are born as a Brahmin, you are not allowed to learn the Vedas unless you go through rigorous discipline. There's a process of initiation for a Brahmin to learn. So, but they are being trained to learn it properly and also to chant and also to propagate. But for personal sadhana, Swami has opened it up for all of us. We can listen to the Vedas, we can attempt to chant along, no problem. But then we can't become the teachers. We don't want to stand in public and chant if we don't know the Vedas. That's my personal understanding. But I will leave it for others to comment on this as well. Please go ahead.
Sairam, maybe if I don't know anything about maybe the Vedic mantra in the very initial stage, I don't know who would be the best guru for that. If I know nothing, anyone, even they chanted the mantra, I would think that person is a really good person and the trained guru, and maybe maybe when I go to Puttaparthi, someone chant over there, I will realize that whatever I learned, in Canada, that is different from here in Puttaparthi, the way they are chanting. So I completely agree with Brother Aruno that if I want to chant at my place at home, alone, it wouldn't harm anyone. But if I stand up in a public forum or in the public spiritual the event, and if I chant whoever they well known with these Vedic mantras, they may be wondering what kind of Vedic chanting is this one. I agree with that one, but only my concern is if I know nothing about the Vedic mantras or how to chant and and when I reach a guru, I would think that that person is a good guru, without realizing, because I have no idea what is right or what is wrong, or in that particular, the way of chanting the mantras, that is only my point here. Thank you, Saira.
Thank you very much, sister. Anyone would like to comment on this, please? So maybe I'll just briefly comment. Sister Ananti, I think Sandhya Nivarni Swami has already given us the assurance that until we have a guru, we try to learn the Shastras by ourselves. And the guru will come, or God will himself appear as guru and teachers. But sometimes I think it's our impatience. That somebody else is doing it, so we want to do it. Because when we don't know what the real benefit of something, but we want to attempt to do something, we may just bring ourselves undue harm. Because Swami has given us very simple sadhana also to do. He will say, learn some bhajans and sing, do some namasmarana, do some seva. There are simple sadhanas also we can do. But I think we can still keep the yearning alive, and we can still seek gurus. But I think we can do that through any process which we follow to identify a place to go and study. If we are going to go to university to follow a particular subject, we will read up quite a bit. We will find who are the people who have gone through that system, from where did this person learn, who are the professors there, where did they study, what are the papers they published, is this a well-recognized institution, and then only we will go and study. We will not start paying money to any institution which shows up. We will do thorough research before we end. So I think we can do, even without knowing the subject, we can do some research before we sign up for learning, is my personal view. But again, chances to mislead are there times, being misled. But I think those times Swami will come and correct, and hopefully we take notice and then fix this issue, is what I think. I understand it's a question, but we have enough things to choose from where we can be very safe to do a sadhana. So I think that's my point. If anyone has something to say, otherwise we'll go to the last question which we have today. It's 4:39. If it's okay with you all, Sister Dushi.
Even though Swami's teachings are based on Sanatana Dharma, why do we give more importance to Hindu philosophy and scriptures in Swami's teachings?
Okay, so I will take a crack at this first, I guess, because others, they are just reading the question. In 1981, when Swami gave for the Sathya Sai organization, he gave us the document for all of us to follow. The charter, as it's called. Swami called it the permanent charter. The preamble in that starts with these words. Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba has taken avatarhood to propagate Sanatana Dharma to all the parts of the world. Okay, so that's the word Swami has used. But the Hinduism is the name which was coined by the Westerners who tried to understand the Sanatana Dharma which was prevalent in India. The Sanatana Dharma, as Swami says, or Bharatiya culture, is a conglomeration of many faiths in India. Actually, there are many religions which were grouped under that Sanatana Dharma. All those religions, whether it's Shaivam or worship of Shiva, Vaishnavam or worship of Vishnu, Shaktam, worship of Shakti, Ganapati. Actually, all these were separate religions. People worshipped only that path, but it was a conglomeration of dharma. The reality is, 2000 years ago, when Jews were persecuted, many of them took shelter in India, and they have lived in India for 2000 years. There was Persian in Iran. There was Zoroastrians had some problem. They had to run away, and they took refuge in India. So like that. So Swami says these were given shelter by Sanatana practitioners of Sanatana Dharma, because for them every path is equally valid. So Hinduism, as it's coined today, is actually, if we want to read this, we have to study what's called Sri Sathya Sai Vahini of Swami's, which answers many of these questions. Why Sanatana Dharma? So what Swami in that Sathya Sai Vahini says is, Sanatana Dharma of Hinduism has many philosophical truths embedded, and some of them are sometimes opposite. Even atheism was considered part of Sanatana Dharma. To that extent, they had broad-mindedness. But Swami says every other religion has only taken one aspect, one or two or three aspects of Sanatana Dharma, and has sort of specialized it. So in that sense, they are also, if you go to Sanatana Dharma, they will say, we will worship Jesus also. We will worship Allah. We don't have a problem to go to a mosque. We don't have a problem real Sanatana Dharma. I understand that even among Hindu practitioners, there can be people who are very staunch belief, they don't associate with others. But the Sanatana Dharma includes every thought. And because of that, many of those concepts, for example, even if you take the concept of Atman, take the concept of Advaita. Swami says, I teach Advaita. Okay, no other religion has Advaita as a principle. Only Vedas talk about it, or the Upanishads talk about it. So what I'm saying is, those principles, according to Swami, are fundamental for all religions. Unfortunately, other religions, how they have evolved, even though the original founders may have based it on Sanatana Dharma principles, today their practice is devoid, or it's separated from those principles, which is the same case even in India. That's why Swami has to take birth in India to fix the problem in India. Because in India too, they have forgotten, and Swami wanted them to reconnect with the Sanatana Dharma principles. But many of the Sanatana principles are embedded in many of the Hindu practices. And that is the reason those practices. But Swami does not distinguish, this is Hindu practice, this is Christian practice. For Swami, all practices are aimed at God, so they're equally valid. But many of the principles which Swami has expounded, if we want to, they come from the Sanatana Dharma tradition. Today, people may say, oh, that belongs to Hinduism. I don't belong to that religion. But that is the problem, Swami says, is a narrow-mindedness. That's all. Today, one religion may be practicing certain values. Other religions may not practice those values. That does not negate those principles themselves. So sometimes when we talk about these principles, people may say, oh, you are teaching Hinduism. Because Hinduism does not believe in conversion. It does not believe in believing in what someone says. You are all fine as long as you believe that everyone else is also following a path to reach God. So that's my understanding, but I will pause here. I'm sorry I took up so much time. I will allow others to comment, please, on whatever has been discussed.
Sairam. Yes, Brother Aruna said, Sanatana Dharma includes so many different faiths and philosophies. It's not just one. Hindu is just a name given by Westerners for the convenience. But in the Sanatana Dharma, that from very different types of philosophies and faiths and practices, it evolves such a way. For example, vegetarianism, to my knowledge, is mainly came from Jainism and Buddhism. The Hinduism at a very latest, maybe even after Buddhism and Jainism only, vegetarianism became an important practice in Sana, and even philosophically. So it's they say so. It's a Swami includes all this, and even atheistic religions like Buddhism and Jainism, and he accepts everything because all these contributed to the Sanatana Dharma, and finally it evolves. So just because something is ancient doesn't mean good, and just because something came much later doesn't mean bad. So it's a process of evolving, and Swami taught and include the best of all that. I think that's my understanding. Sairam.
Sairam, brother, just it's a minor clarification, because sometimes we read history written by Western minds, Western educated minds, and we date different things. For example, vegetarianism, if we take this vegetarianism as a concept, Swami says Rama was born 20,000 years ago. And when Rama was going to the forest, Guha, when he was leaving as instructed by father to live in the forest for 14 years, he supposed to be going to the forest. And when he went, the Guha basically brought all kinds of food. He wanted to test who is Rama, apparently. So when he's a fisherman, so when he brought food, apparently he brought fruits, he brought meat, he brought fish, and he offered it to Rama, and he was observing what is he taking, what is he partaking, to see whether he was a sattvic person or whether he was a rajasic person or tamasic person. So Hinduism never, told, Sanatana Dharma never had a philosophy called, this vegetarianism, which itself came later on. But the concept that for devotion, spiritual progress, certain type of food has to be avoided has always existed. There were great rishis who were proponents of this. But unfortunately, all of us read our own history in English or something where some Westerner or someone with some ulterior motive has written something. So I urge everyone to read what Swami has written to understand. And I think there is the resurgence of some of these thoughts. People are trying to fix some of these errors in history, recorders of history, which with certain ulterior motives, some people have tried to. So that Swami has written about Sanatana Dharma. If you want to read about Sanatana Dharma, I think we can have a complete study circle or series of study circles on that. It will be good to read Sathya Sai Vahini or some of Swami's writings on Sanatana Dharma. So I will stop here. I'm very sorry it came out as something silent.
So, Sairam, brother, so that means this is very easy to teach Sanatana Dharma for all the religion people. It's a common one, common values we are teaching. But when you want to go deeply into that, the spiritual, apart from the religion is the surface. When you want to go into the deeply, you have to bring the Hindu philosophy and scriptures. That's what Swami is teaching all the time. Thank you, brother Sairam.
I think as followers, if we just say we are as followers of Sri Sathya Sai Baba, we are learning what he teaches, I think that's a safer bet than say we belong. Ultimately, sometimes we politicize even the concept of Sarva Dharma. When Swami used the word Sarva Dharma, Swami was talking about unity of religions. But sometimes, we teach multi-faith prayers. For example, we think children should learn every other scripture. So I'm reminded, in 1970, Swami, I've tried to trace that book. So Swami gave a question and answer session for early Balavikas gurus. So in that, one teacher is asking Swami, if a Christian boy is enrolled in Balavikas, what should I teach? Should I teach the shlokas and this thing? So Swami is that one Balavikas guru asked Swami. Then Swami told her, look here, if a Hindu child comes, teach them Hinduism so that child becomes a better Hindu. If a Christian child comes, teach them Christianity so that child becomes better Christian. If the Muslim child comes, teach them Islam so that child becomes better Muslim. So for that, you have to first learn and then teach. But the children can get confused by religious differences because people say Jesus ate fish, so why should we eat? Why Swami is telling we should not eat meat? If you take a Muslim person, they have for them every festival they have to slaughter a goat. So how can we say that they are not following religion? All these questions will come. So I would say we are better off saying we are studying the teachings of Swami within the Sai organizations. I am not saying we should force everyone else, but within the Sai organization, it may be better for us to say these are teachings of Swami, and then we practice them. Because the reality is, Swami has written 15 Vahinis. People can say Sai Baba has not written anything from any other religion. Okay. He has written Rama Katarasa Vahini, Ramayana. He has written Bhagavata Vahini, Bhagavatam. He has written Dhyana Vahini, meditation. That's only belong to Christian, Hinduism. Satya Dharma. So everything which Swami has written relates to Gita Vahini, Sutra Vahini, Upanishad Vahini. Why didn't Swami write Bible Vahini? Why didn't Swami write Quran Vahini? These are thoughts which will come because the problem is, sometimes the devotees think that they know better than Swami. Because we should say we have come here to learn what Swami teaches. He basically wants us all devotees to believe that every religion is trying to go towards God. That's enough. Because if I am a Hindu and I have not learned my own scripture, why should I venture into learn some other scripture when I don't know my own religion? But the thing is, we try to do that so that we may attract other religious people into our fold. Wrong. That is not the purpose. Our purpose of learning spirituality should be for our own progress. I think if we if we follow that, and we say Swami has taught these things, we are following. Then otherwise we have run into challenges. Parents who come and say, "Oh, we have to teach every religion." When we don't know the religion, how can we teach? We can tell them that Jesus stood for love. Some anecdotes we can talk about, but we are not qualified to teach another religion. So first, I think we should learn what Swami has taught. I think that's my personal belief. I'm sorry, it may be strongly opinionated, but based on what I don't know, there is. I recently circulated to one video of a Muslim student who joined Puttaparthi, and he became a very devout Muslim. And that boy, he's actually studied from 2005 onwards. Now he teaches Ramayana for Hindu children, but he's a practicing Muslim. He said after coming to Swami, he has started learning Quran, though Quran was never taught in Puttaparthi, but he knows how to chant Vedas by listening to Veda chanting. And when he came to join the college, apparently he had to get a clearance from the mosque, the mullah, saying that he will not convert to another religion and come. So Swami has said by example how but when he was there, Swami didn't think, oh, a Muslim boy has come, now let us introduce Islam somewhere. It will never happen. Bhajans were sung. There were Sarva Dharma bhajans. So I think we should really understand what Swami means and do it with total understanding of the spirit is what I think we should do. I'm very sorry. It may contradict many of your thoughts, but this is my side of the story. But I think we'll spend another 4 minutes if everyone is okay. So I will keep silent and others can speak up. Saira.
Sairam, I think the questions based on we did today, whoever sent it to you by, I think, email or something, but the question have other devotees on the thing. We plan to talk to you, but can we continue on next week also? Because we don't talk, and lots of people have questions and feedback also.
Okay, you can say I will let the participant decide. I'm okay to, because I don't like this type of talking, because each of us are talking without any material of Swami in front of us. So it does not become a study. But if there is keen interest among participants to just discuss a little more, maybe for one more session, we will accept questions like this, because if there are questions which have not been discussed, or even some of the points which we discussed today have to be discussed, I'm open to it. I just can't, a few people say yes or no. We will have one more session.
For me, I don't have a question. Only thing, on better improve the thing. Some of the feedback I would like to share next week, maybe. Thank you, Sairam.
Anyone else?
Sairam, my understanding, only a few people they have sent their questions through email, but many people they are waiting for the chance to get into the from audience. Maybe for those people, we have missed the opportunity, so we would give them a chance for the next Sunday. Then we can move on to maybe the Vahini series. That is
Thank you, sister. Anyone else? Thank you. Anyone else?
I also feel that we can have another session for clearing the doubts of the devotees. Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Auntie. Anyone else?
Sairam, it would be nice if we can have one more session, because I think previously Swami had said the study has to be followed by contemplation and then putting it into action. So this is, I think, contemplation, right? And analysis. So, and discussion and motivation as a group that, oh, I'm not the only person having this doubt in my mind. Others are thinking this way too. And then we have a collective conclusion. So I think one more session, but also maybe once in few months, time to time. It's a good contemplative process. Saira.
Okay. So thank you very much, sister. I think very good, valid feedbacks. So we will have one more session of question and answers, and then we will schedule maybe once in 2 months a session of Q&A, so that way we can have a general discussion, go back to things which we have contemplated on. I think it's a very valid section, valid input. Thank you very much, Sister Vasudha. So next session also will be Q&A. After that, every 2 months we will have one. Maybe we'll say every 2 months, the last Sunday will be a Q&A. Okay, so is everyone okay? I hope I have just.
Sai Ram, that is a good decision. Vasudha mentioned. I also want to say, but Vasudha mentioned already. Thank you, Sai Ram. That is a good thing. Whatever we study, then we don't practice in the practical life, then it's no point to, study Swami's teaching. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sister. It means the whole idea is all of us should benefit and we all should feel the same way. It's very nice. So it's decided by you all, I hope. If anyone has any objections, you let us know. But going forward, so every odd month last Sunday will be Q&A, because this is an odd month, September. So the next one, they will have one more session of Q&A. The following Q&A will happen on the last Sunday in November, and then January, March, and so on. I hope that's okay with you all.
Sai Ram, can we have one, same way in Tamil Study Circle also? The people want to talk in Tamil Study Circle also, they can do? Sai Ram.
Yes, same sister. We'll do again the same. The last Saturday of the odd month in the Tamil Study Circle will be Q&A. Okay, is everyone okay? I hope at least the people who are who have the videos on, you can just nod, and then we know that it's good. Okay, Sai Ram. Thank you very much. I think it was sorry if it got a bit late. Maybe I spoke too much today, but next week we will just we'll have more discussions. Thank you very much. We thought it's only one session, so I was rushing through. Sorry about it. Sai Ram, everyone. We will see you again next week. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
We'll close with Samasta Loka and Shanti. Om Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram, everyone.